all of us have a tendency to run behind FANG level companies, but the startups are also really good. So one of them is definitely Swiggy. I have worked with Swiggy, and so this kind of more development oriented questions, more debugging oriented questions, and building a scalable solution related questions. Some more points were added to that question, some more difficulties were added to that question, and eventually we moved towards a fault tolerant and scalable solution. The focus on DSA is not too much, but the
Right.
focus on development and debugging stuff, building scalable system, your high level design knowledge, your low level design knowledge is a lot more.
Hello everyone. Today we have with us Attri. So this we've already had him for his Google intro experience session. So this video will be a kind of a continuation. So we have covered all the generic questions like how was his preparation strategy, suggestions before interviews, and mindset related question. So we'll be focusing more on his experience with Unicard in this video. Hi Attri.
Hey, Shashank. Thanks. There are a lot of startups in India which provide you equivalent compensation and equivalent challenges of work, and a good culture as well. Generally, we tend to ignore them. We all of us have a tendency to run behind, FANG level companies, but the startups are also really good. So one of them is definitely Swiggy. I have worked with Swiggy, and even Shashank has worked with
Yeah.
Swiggy. Uh, I have been there for more than a year, and it has been really great, I would say. I've learned a lot. And again, one of the other startups that I've interacted with is Unicard. So yeah, I feel the startup culture is growing, and it's growing really big and beautifully. Yep.
Right.
So thanks, Shashank, for this initiative, bringing
Yeah.
startups into the picture.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thank you for being here with us and taking out the time to share your experience.
Sure.
Yeah. So we can start with the experience.
Sure. So essentially, I had 3 rounds of interviews with Unicard. The first one being a data structures algorithm based round, and the next 2 rounds were primarily of high level design. So the
Yeah.
first round was essentially data structures algorithms based round, and I was asked 2 medium level questions there. Other than that, few behavioral questions were also asked, and some questions regarding my experience. So essentially, I have worked mostly in Elasticsearch and Kibana. So I have been working in this tech stack for around 2 years now. So I got a lot of questions from that part, like how does Elasticsearch work internally? What all can we do with it? A lot of know-hows about the Elasticsearch. So we discussed that, and we also took up some development questions, some best practices. So we discussed this kind of questions as well. Um, the second round was taken by a more senior person who was more of a principal engineer there, and he was really focusing on my understanding of fundamental computer science, and also um, my development experiences. He was giving me few situations uh, based on um, some technical glitches or difficulties that we are facing, and he was mostly asking me how to go about debugging that, what should be the steps that I should take first to start the debugging, and based on the outcome of that step, what step we should do next, what step shall we take next. So this kind of more development oriented questions, more debugging oriented questions, and building a scalable solution related questions. And we did that for around 40 minutes, and then he asked me a high level system design question. And the question was very simple. I was asked to design S3, but not as a software as a service, but like some internal tools for the organization. So yeah, I won't say that I did exceptionally well, but yeah, I was able to give some understanding, or some basic way of solving that problem, using all the knowledge of high level design that I had in these 2 years of career. So yeah, I would um, say that that round went well, not too well. um, in the third round also, I was asked questions from my development experience, and again the best practices, including low level design. And lastly, we took up a high level design for a notification system. So this time I did pretty well because I had understanding of notification system, and I know what all are the components there. So as and when we build a workable system, then the question was enhanced. Some more points were added to that question, some more difficulties were added to that question, and eventually we moved towards a fault tolerant and scalable solution. We went in steps. So now, post that, yeah, so that round really went exceptionally well, and by the combined results of all these 3 rounds, I actually got a higher call. And yeah, that was the experience basically. And then compensation discussion and all that thing happened. um,
Okay.
so as you can see, right, like the focus on DSA is not too much, but the
Right.
focus on development and debugging stuff, building scalable system, your high level design knowledge, your low level design knowledge is a lot more. So this is something very exceptional that I've seen. This is against the tradition that we have in the market right now, and I really enjoyed through and through. Um, Either I have answered it correctly, or I have learned how to, build systems correctly, how to debug systems correctly. So there has been a lot of learning, I would say, from this interviews that I had in Unicard.
Right. And also, I think one more big difference between the interviews at startup compared to well-established MNCs would be the machine coding round that startups are taking these days. So, do you want to highlight more about how to go about it and how it's different from TSA round?
Yeah. So essentially, I did not have any machine coding round with Unicard. But yeah, while I was interviewing for Swiggy, there was a machine coding round. And yeah, like um, while talking about machine coding, what is really important is understanding object oriented design. Given a problem statement, do you convert that into a solution? More specifically, an object oriented solution. What classes you will write, uh, what all methods you will write in that classes, what all variables you will write in that classes, what will be the um, interdependent relations between the classes that you have. How should you design your classes so that whenever a feature request comes for that application, or some modifications come to that application, your effort for changing the code would be minimal. So those are few things that uh, you know uh, are basically required as and when you move on to development. So yeah, that's a really important thing. So once you think you are quite confident with DSA, I would really suggest all of you to learn solid principles and object oriented design, a few design patterns maybe, and that will even if we put aside the interview, it's a good learning experience. um, when you will be writing scalable apps, these are very well needed. So yeah,
Okay.
that's true.
Yeah, so I think that's all we have to plan to cover in this session. Yeah, thank you, Attri, for being with us.
Sure, sure. Thanks a lot.